Then we can go on to SD 42.22, chapter 22 of Sutta Discovery, volume 42. There are two suttas here, one short one and one long one. The long sutta is called Chakka Appamāda Sutta. Chakka means the sixes. In other words, this is from the Anuttara Book of Six. Appamāda Sutta. Appamāda means heedfulness, diligence. The discourse, or the sixes discourse on diligence. A 6.53. So this is the long sutta. It is located in the Book of Six because there are 6 parables. Then there is also one short one, a short embedded sutta, which is called Atta Appamāda Sutta. The discourse on diligence being beneficial both ways, or the discourse on diligence that is beneficial both ways. This is from S317. Now this one is a shorter sutta, it's only one parable. Okay. Usually the shorter suttas are much older, because from the short teachings we tend to expand. So this is the usual understanding that we have in terms of the development of the suttas. In both suttas, the key idea is the same. The question is asked, what is the one dharma, what is the one teaching, the one truth, the one method, this is meant by the word dharma, that is really useful, that is really helpful in our spiritual progress, in other words. And that one thing which needs to be cultivated, to be developed. That one thing is called diligence. Right? So this, in other words, we can say what is the one dharma. Okay? So diligence, the Pali word is Appamāda. This word Appamāda has got 3 parts. Right? First is A in front, or Na, meaning not. And then you have Pa is a strengthening prefix. And Mada is the root, or Mud is the root. M-A-D. M-A-D looks like the English word mad. In fact, they are closely related. Mud means to be intoxicated, to be confused. So from mud, you get words like majja, that which confuses us. Right? And you have majja, pamada, majja, pamada tana. Those strings that are the basis for heedlessness, pamada, heedlessness, pamada tana. Okay? So this is of course from the 5th precept, majja, pamada tana, or simply pamada tana, the basis for heedlessness. Heedlessness means carelessness, not being mindful, forgetting, not giving attention, and so on. So, of course, this is the source of ignorance and confusion and delusion. Paying attention, being heedful, brings wisdom, right? This is the mental aspect, of course. Heedfulness refers to all the 3 doors of action. First the mind, then the body. Body means keeping to the first 3 precepts, not to kill, not to steal, not to commit sexual misconduct, be mindful of the body. And then of course speech, right speech. So we have all the 3 doors of action, carefully guarded, directed towards mental cultivation, towards wisdom, in other words. So that's a bit of introduction. Right? Okay, so let's look at the first sutta, the embedded sutta. The SD number is SD 42.22 brackets 3.2. In other words, here the sutta is located in SD, volume 42, chapter 22, section 3.2. Ubo Atta Appamāda Sutta. The discourse on diligence that is beneficial both ways. S 3.17. Now what does both ways here mean? Both ways means here in the present and also in the future. In other words, what's to come. The sutta goes like this. Originating in Savatthi, Pasenadi, the Raja of Kosala, sat down at one side. Siddhartha at one side, Pasenadi, Raja of Kosala, said this to the Blessed One. So here we have King Pasenadi sharing his thoughts with the Buddha. Bhante, there is the one Dharma, when cultivated, often developed, would accomplish both kinds of benefits. That is, as a benefit that stands right here and now, and as a benefit in the hereafter. So here we have King Pasenadi in his pious moments, right? He often hears the Buddha teaching, and sometimes he himself comes up with some very interesting ideas which coincide, which overlap with the Buddha's teachings. He will share with the Buddha, and the Buddha will endorse it. The Buddha say very true, and sometimes the Buddha would kind of add his own comments. So here the king comes to the Buddha and tells him this reflection on the one Dharma. And the Buddha says, there is, Maharaja, the one Dharma, when cultivated, often cultivated, would accomplish both kinds of benefits. That is, as a benefit that stands right here and now, and as a benefit in the hereafter. Then the king asks, and what, Bhante, is the one Dharma, when cultivated, often developed, would accomplish both kinds of benefits? That is, as a benefit that stands right here and now, and as a benefit in the hereafter. Right? So here, actually, the King Pasenadi is asking a question, right? So he's kind of reflecting, so I wonder what is this one thing that is really useful here in this life and hereafter in the future life. For those who have difficulty accepting other lives, future lives, we can say action, reaction. What is that one thing that we feel good about it now, and the results also are beneficial? The Buddha answers, indeed, Maharaja, diligence is the one thing, when cultivated, often developed, would accomplish both kinds of benefits. That is, as a benefit that stands right here and now, and as a benefit in the hereafter. Then the Buddha gives the parable, which is the only parable in this sutta, the Appamāda Sutta. Maharaja, just as the footprint of any living being that walks can be placed within an elephant's hoofprint, and so the elephant's hoofprint is declared to be the foremost of them because of its great size. Even so, Maharaja, diligence is that one Dharma, when cultivated, often developed, would accomplish both kinds of benefits. That is, as a benefit that stands right here and now, and as a benefit in the hereafter. So this is where we get the title of the sutta, the two benefits. Then the Blessed One said this. Having said this, the welfarer Sugata, the teacher, said this. And there are three verses here. Ayung arugiyang vannam sankang ucca kulinatang ratio patayantena ulara aparapara. Long life, good health, beauty, heaven, high birth. For those who hope or who pray for delights so great, ever and again. Appamādam pasangsanti punya kiryasu pandita appamatto ubo ate adhikanhati pandito. The wise praise diligence in the making of merit. On account of diligence, the wise benefit both ways. Ditte dame jayo atto yo chatto samparayiko Atha visamaya diro pandito ti pavujjati ti. There is the benefit here and now, and the benefit in the hereafter too. And the steadfast who attains the goal is said to be wise. So here, the first part talks about whatever we hope for, pray for, if that's what you want, long life, good health, heaven, high birth. So here, in other words, if you want these things, in the Itta Sutta, the Buddha says, there's no point praying for them. You won't get them that way. You have, number one, to live a life that conduces to those things you wish for. For example, if you want long life, you have to live healthily. If you want to have good health, you have to live healthily. In this sutta, the word diligence is used. You have to be diligent to have long life, good health, beauty, and so on. You have to exercise. You have to take care of your meals, eat proper food, and so on, right? So in other words, here you have two things. One is living the right kind of lifestyle, and also moral virtue. Two aspects is meant by diligence here. And the merit is also mentioned here, merit punya. In other words, not doing anything bad that would jeopardize yourself, that would harm you. So there's also diligence. Diligence means avoiding bad things, whatever will harm us. And then that is negative diligence, if you like. And positive diligence is cultivating positive qualities. And then you feel happy. This is the teachings of all the Buddha. In other words, you purify your mind. So that is purifying the mind is the second training. The first training is moral virtue, which is covered by the negative diligence, positive diligence. Negative here meaning not doing it. Positive means doing it. So this is the this is the moral virtue aspect. And this forms the basis for mental cultivation, both of which leads to wisdom, which frees us from suffering. So this is said to be wise. Right? So here the last verse says, another word for diligence is steadfast, not giving up, going on doing it, step by step, just like water dropping drop by drop into a pot, and the pot is filled. So this is the first sutta. Right? Now the second sutta is the title sutta, Chakka Appamāda Sutta, the sixth discourse on diligence. Now here there's a note just below the translated title. Internal numbering does not follow PTS. Now here in the Pali Text Society edition, the numbers tend to be a little haphazard. Sometimes you have a big chunk of material with just one number, so it's very difficult to follow. So what I've done here is I've systematically numbered them so that when you teach or when you study, it's very easy to locate. It's more or less one number, one main idea. Sometimes it can be a very long sentence, so we try to break it up into sizable, into systematic chunks, lines and paragraphs. The sixth discourse on diligence, A 6.53. Then a certain Brahmin approached the Blessed One. Having gone up to the Blessed One, he exchanged greetings with him. When this courteous and friendly exchange was concluded, the Brahmin sat down at one side. Okay, there's a slight change here because I had a very interesting meeting with Ajahn Jato a few days ago. And one of the things he told me, he says, you know, a simple word like upasankamati, he approached the Blessed One or the teacher, is so meaningful. We were talking about coming close to the teacher so that you can hear clearly, so that you can pay full attention. So even a simple, humble word like action word like upasankamati is deep meaning. So I thought about it because we tend to shorten this first introductory sentence. He approached the Blessed One, and then saluted him and sat down at one side. But the Pali has got, the Pali goes like te nupasamkami, upasamkami twa. So the approach where the Blessed One was or is, having approached the Blessed One, you did this. Okay. So the second one, most translators omit because it seems to repeat the section, but actually there is a good reason why there is this so-called repetition. This is found in the Chakka Sutta, called the 12 steps of this discipleship. You know? In other words, we have faith, and we look for teachers, and then we sit up close to the teacher. This is a very important aspect of discipleship. If we really want to get wisdom, we need to pay attention, and what better way to pay attention is to sit near the teacher. Okay? As you know, in the Buddha's time, there are no microphones, right? Even today, you have this big hall. You sit at the back, you are likely not to hear the teacher well. Even if there's a PA system, you find at the back people tend to talk, or maybe playing with their phone and so on. So you get distracted. There's other people who talk to you too. So if you really want to have the full benefit of the Dharma talk, you would sit, well, I would sit right in front, okay? And then you have a good chance to listen fully to the teaching, okay? So Upasamkami has got that kind of meaning of really preparing yourself to experience the Dharma fully. So for that reason, I have revised this translation, and I'm in the process of updating all the 50 over volumes, wherever this line appears, Upasamkami appears, to say, having gone up to the Blessed One, you've gone up, goes up close, in other words, exchange greetings or bow down to him and so on. Because you don't bow down from far away, you bow down up close, or almost able to touch the person. When this courteous and friendly exchange was concluded, the Brahmin sat down at one side. Seated thus at one side, the Brahmin said this to the Blessed One. Now, Master Gautama, is there the one Dharma when cultivated, often developed, often that would accomplish both kinds of benefits, that is, as a benefit that stands right here and now, and as a benefit in the hereafter? So here you have a certain Brahmin came to ask the Buddha. So it looks like this topic is quite an interesting topic, right? It was just like, you see, in Buddhism we have so many numbers, you know. For example, you have the 37 limbs of awakening, 37 limbs of awakening, which comes with 7 sets. Then you've got the Eightfold Path, then you've got the Four Noble Truths, and then you have the 5 aggregates, right? And then we have the 2 aspects of things like body and mind, and you have this one single aspect, it's the most important, right? So here, the one important teaching is diligence. So this is the sutta about that one Dharma. Then the Buddha answers him. The Buddha says, there is Brahmin, that one Dharma, when cultivated, often developed, would accomplish both kinds of benefits, that is, as a benefit that stands right here and now, as a benefit in the hereafter. Then the Brahmin asks, and what, Master Gautama, is that one Dharma, when cultivated, often developed, would accomplish both kinds of benefits, that is, a benefit that stands right here and now, and as a benefit in the hereafter? And the answer, of course, says the Buddha, diligence, Brahmin, is that one Dharma, when cultivated, often developed, or you can say when cultivated, grown, would accomplish both kinds of benefits, that is, as a benefit that stands right here and now, and as a benefit in the hereafter. Then the Buddha gives 6 kinds of parables to show the importance of diligence, of heedfulness. The first parable is the elephant's footprint parable. Brahmin, just as the footprint of any living being that walks can be placed within an elephant's hoofprint, and so the elephant's hoofprint is declared to be the foremost of them because of its great size. Even so, Brahmin, diligence is the one dharma, when cultivated, often developed, would accomplish both kinds of benefits. That is, as a benefit that stands right here now, and as a benefit in the hereafter. So, of course, the elephant's hoofprint is a very famous parable. There's a whole sutta just based on this. Two suttas, in fact, one Maha and Chula. And this is to show how, in other words, diligence encompasses the whole, all the teachings of the Buddha under one diligence. For example, you talk about the three trainings, Sila, Samadhi, Panya, you have to be diligent in all the three. You talk about the Four Noble Truths, you have to be diligent in understanding all the Four Noble Truths and so on. So this right effort, even if you like, is another way of looking at diligence. Then the next parable is that of the rich pole. So the bhikshu just says all the rafters of a house with a peaked roof lead to the rich pole, slopes towards the rich pole, converge at the rich pole, and the rich pole is said to be their peak. Even so, diligence is the key dharma, the single dharma, which is very important. So here the idea is oneness. Now the rich pole is this straight, strong beam right at the top of the roof. And all the rafters, the other poles, other beams kind of lean on it, forming, if you look at it from the front or from the back, like an A shape like that. So in other words, here it talks about support. So if you don't have this one major beam and it is not strong, the other beams will break and fall to the ground and the roof will collapse with great disaster. So here we have this idea of support, of strength, the rich pole. Okay? This is the dharma that supports all other dharmas, that strengthens all other dharmas, or you might say it's the backbone of all the other dharmas. Now the third parable is that of a reed cutter. So here you have kind of action parable. Bhikshu is just as a reed cutter, or grass cutter if you like, but here the reed is very tall. The reeds probably grows by the river, and then they plant it to make strings or ropes. The reed cutter would cut down a bunch of reeds or bulrushes, grab it by the top, and then shake it down, shake it about, and thrash it about, right? So you hold the top and then cut. So you hold everything, hold in one hand. So here, the parable of oneness is the one hand. The hand holds the reed or the bulrushes and then kind of beats it and dries it and thrashes it. But it's very important for them to do this so that you get this nice and soft reed to make things with, maybe make baskets with them or make ropes with them. So here again you have this one hand, because if you let go of it, then the reeds all over the place, it will be useful. So this is where a kind of integrated practice, where your practice are all interconnected. They all lead to one point, or rather they start with one point, that is diligence, and then they go their way towards the goal. Okay? So our practice is, one is gently, smoothly flowing to the other in a single-minded approach towards the true goal of awakening. The fourth parable is that of the mango bunch, a bunch of mangoes. Now, as you know, Indian mangoes are very sweet, really nutritious, and fragrant. Bhikshus, just as when a stalk of a bunch of mangoes has been cut, all the mangoes attached to the stalk would go with it, right? So even so, one dharma is diligence. All the teachings follow it. Right? So you got to use your imagination a bit. Okay? So you have this, a lot of mangoes are growing in the tree. You can pluck one by one, which is quite tedious. But if you cut the stalk at the top, and you cut off a bit, and you have this whole bunch, you just safely bring it down. After that, you can pluck them one by one. So here again, in other words, we find these various teachings of the Buddha are all connected to diligence. diligence. In other words, if you go back like a kind of a flow chart, you go back to diligence. Okay, and you look at the life of the Buddha. Ever since his renunciation, he was diligent in his practice until the very day that he passed away, teaching the Dharma every day with diligence, never giving up. In other words, even you see the Buddha sitting under the Bodhi tree all alone by himself, meditating. All his radiance is alone. It represents the one Dharma, diligence, meditating, never giving up. Parable number 5 is the parable of the wheel turner, the universal monarch, Chakka, universal emperor. Bhikshus, just as petty princes are all vessels of the wheel-turning monarch, and the wheel-turning monarch is declared to be the foremost amongst them. Even so, Brahmin diligence is the one Dharma, when cultivated, often developed with accomplished both kinds of benefits, that is, as a benefit that stands right here and now, and as a benefit in the hereafter. So here you have another imagery of this very powerful king, this emperor, if you like. And under him there are other smaller kings, vessels, right? They rule their own kingdoms, but they submit themselves to the power of the universal emperor, so they won't fight. So they rule their own kingdom, but they kind of pay homage or pay tribute to this emperor. So this whole empire is at peace. So this emperor is right in the center of this great land, okay? And then with this kind of peace, culture progress, kinds of trade or progress, people become rich and prosperous, science begin to grow, religion also grow, and so on, right? So you have this, because of this universal monarch who is very strong and powerful, who is able to control all the other smaller kings. So this diligence is like this universal monarch, able to make sure that all the other dharmas work in a correct, complete way. Or that's one way of putting it. In other words, we are practicing everything in a unified, integral way. And of course here the universal monarch, in other words speaking, is our own mind. Okay? And then the last parable, number 6, is the parable of moonlight. Not the moon, but moonlight, a very beautiful parable. Bhikshus, just as the light of all the stars do not amount to a 16th. 16th is just a imagery here. It means an iota, even a little bit of the moon's light. And moonlight is declared to be the foremost amongst them. Right? Even so, diligence is the key teaching, key doctrine, key practice. Okay? So here, in other words, you see in the sky all the stars. No matter how many stars you look at, the lights are twinkling, even very bright stars, but they're not as bright as the moon. This is seen from Earth, of course. Yeah? And of course, when the moon is shining very bright, you don't see very many stars anyway. First, the moonlight will kind of brighten up the sky. So the moon's light, or moonlight, is the chief of all light in the night sky. So, of course, there are other parables in other suttas where the sun is the light of the day, and the sun is the kind of only light there is. But the problem with the sun, you have nothing to compare it with, whereas at night you can still see stars. So the moon is the key practice representing diligence, and all the other stars representing the various other related dharmas that we need to practice. So this is the 6th parable. And the Brahmin is very happy. The Brahmin says, "Excellent Master Gautama, excellent Master Gautama. May Blessed Gautama remember me as a layman who has gone for refuge from this day forth for life." Just as if, Blessed Gautama, one were to place upright what had been overturned, or were to reveal what was hidden, or were to show the way to one who was lost. were to held up a lamp in the dark so that those with eyes could see forms. In the same way, in numerous ways, the Dharma has been made clear by the Master Gautama. I go to the Blessed One for refuge, to the Dharma, and to the community of monks. May the Blessed One remember me as a lay follower who has gone to him for refuge from this day forth for life. So the sutta ends there. So once again, let us do a short reflection to close this study. Today's teaching is on diligence. In other words, direct our mind, body and speech towards the practice of the Dharma. This means we are diligently focusing all our efforts to let go of what is painful, negative, unhelpful to our personal development, to our mental development, to our spiritual development, so that we grow morally, we grow mentally, and we grow spiritually so that we are liberated in the true sense of the word to be truly happy. Reflecting in this way, we create a lot of wonderful good karma. But about this good karma, may we be well and happy in this life itself. And by this good karma and many others that we have been doing, keeping the precepts, practicing meditation, practicing generosity, and so on. May we aspire to attain stream winning in this life itself, at least stream winning, if not higher. And also by this very same token of peace and joy in this moment, let us share our loving kindness to all other beings everywhere, especially our loved ones, our relatives and friends, that they may be well and happy. And also to those whom the Dharma have not touched, that they may see the Dharma for themselves and attain spiritual awakening. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu.